As we lurch forward into May, you might be tempted to start worrying about how the first third of 2022 flashed by so fast. Instead, I'd recommend hopping into the Xbox Game Pass library, where you'll find all sorts of awesome new titles to take your mind off it, from the culinary adventures that have just arrived to the samurai sagas that are on the way. Here's what's new in the world of Xbox Game Pass.
Guys, if you're anything like me and you can't go for a meal without taking a picture of your food, then Bugsnax could be just the game for you. Although, you have to be pretty speedy with the shutter to catch some of these dishes. You see, Bugsnax is a first-person adventure game that takes place on an island covered in sentient food. There are sandwich-shaped caterpillars to make you very hungry, rib racks to spare, and about 100 other species of living snacks for you to track down. It's a hilarious and ridiculous premise that makes for a whole lot of laughs, but Bugsnax isn't just here for the sweet stuff. It's excellent script combined with some quality voice work to create meaningful conversations about animal rights, ethical farming, and all sorts of other serious topics. Which is kind of impressive in any situation, but especially when there are creatures made from curly fries crawling around right next to you. Oh, and by the way, people's limbs transform according to the creatures they eat, so body horror fun for all the family, eh?
2013 classic 7 Days to Die is a survival game set in the aftermath of a world war which has left the planet in ruins, forcing players to scavenge for the bare materials they'll need to keep them fed, watered, and protected from the elements. Oh, and to make matters worse, there's also zombies. A lot of zombies. The undead are relatively placid during the day, but they become absolutely ferocious at night, pursuing any player they encounter with the single-minded zeal of a serial killer or an elite athlete. So you'll want to make sure you've built yourself a pretty stable shelter and crafted something pointy to protect yourself with. Keep one eye on the calendar though, as every 7th day brings about an event known as the Blood Moon, where huge swarms of zombies will stampede towards your location. That beautiful scarlet lunar sight may be a wonder to behold on the Xbox Series X and S, but it spells a lot of trouble coming your way. And as my dad used to say, if you fail to prepare, then you prepare to be eaten alive by a horde of ghoulish monsters. Never really got what he meant.
Out on the edge of interstellar society, outside the grasp of corporations that control everything else, lies a ramshackle space station full of outcasts and oddballs trying to forge a better way of life. This is the world of Citizen Sleeper. It's inspired by the boundless freedom of tabletop RPGs. The game lets you decide what role you want to play out in this brave new world without the table. You can take a job behind the bar to earn some cash, or go scavenge what you need, hang out with the hackers, or make friends with your favourite street food vendor. Dig into the station's cloud to uncover its deepest secrets, or get political and form alliances with its various factions. Whatever you choose to do, you'll find that the game's vibrant world responds in one way or another, with whichever of your decisions rippling out across the world in ways that are big and small.
It's everyone's favourite visual novel about homicidal teens. Danganronpa returns on May 10th as the second game, Goodbye Despair, hits Xbox Game Pass. For the uninitiated, the world of Danganronpa is a little bit Battle Royale and a little bit Among Us. A bunch of school kids are forced to play a deadly game in which the only way to escape is by bumping off one another without getting caught, leading to some incredibly tense class trials. You can check out the first game, Trigger Happy Havoc, on Xbox Game Pass right now. Once you're all caught up with that, the sequel takes place on a tropical island, which does mean that its lively cast of characters get to have some beachy fun, although only when they're not being surreptitiously murdered. As you potter about the island, you'll have to chat with the other characters to learn more about them, information which just might come in handy when you go to trial. For a game with a murderous bear for its chief antagonist, Danganronpa 2 actually has a surprisingly heartfelt story to tell, if you can survive long enough to hear it, that is.
May 10th brings another major Day 1 addition to Xbox Game Pass's vast catalogue, with the 2.5 action RPG Eiyuden Chronicle Rising set to make its debut. It's a love letter to the JRPGs of old. Eiyuden Chronicle Rising boasts a delicately detailed art style with a hand-painted feel that draws your eye all over the screen, even when there's a kangaroo man with a gigantic sword sitting in the middle of it. The intuitive, approachable combat system lets you switch between the members of your party on the fly to dish out some devastating combos. Take that, scary snake monster guy. And the crazy thing is that this is really just the appetizer. The Xbox Series X and S optimized sequel, Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes, is currently scheduled for release next year, when it will be coming straight to Xbox Game Pass as well.
Loot River may sound like a gamer's dream or a Fortnite destination, but it's also the name of a dungeon-crawling roguelike that takes place inside of a series of procedurally generated labyrinths. As parallel realities collide, all sorts of strange characters and terrifying creatures will turn up in the dark and dingy halls you travel through, so you'd better be prepared to fight for your life every step of the way. Should you fall in combat, you'll wake up again in a whole new universe with its own unique configuration of horrors to haunt you. Although those horrors are at least very pretty thanks to the game's hand-drawn artwork, which looks morbidly wonderful yet silky smooth in 4K Ultra HD on the Xbox Series X. It'll take brains as well as brawn to make it through these deadly catacombs, using your magical powers to shift the ground underneath you and solve all sorts of block-based puzzles. It's sort of like Tetris, only if Tetris was full of mystical abominations that wanted you dead. So, not very much like Tetris, actually.
Now, we've got the latest word in puck-slapping fun. It's NHL 22. EA's ice hockey series continues to blend incredibly realistic skating physics with just a dash of arcade anarchy to make for a game that is sure to thrill hardcore sports fans, as well as people who just want to slide around waving a stick with knives on their feet. This year's entry adds a fun new feature called X Factors, no Simon Cowell included. This blesses the game's real superstars with special skills, allowing them to pull off precision passes, lethal shots, and the kind of contorted saves that look like a breakdancing move gone wrong. The next-gen version of the game adds some nice little visual touches like dynamic lighting and improved shadows, letting Xbox Series X and S players really appreciate the way the light bounces off the ice as they go careering towards some poor sucker on the opposite team.
Maybe, like Kurosawa, you make films. Maybe you don't make films, but if you did, they'd have a samurai. Either way, Trek to Yomi's arrival on May 5th should keep you smiling for at least 1 week. Okay, that's enough bare-naked ladies references for one day. In this stunning black and white side-scroller, you play as a young swordsman who has sworn to protect his town. To do so, he'll have to take part in one deadly battle after another, with the game's slick combat system making each fight a tactile experience full of clanging steel and brutal finishing maneuvers. To go with its sumptuous visuals, Trek to Yomi also boasts a gorgeous soundtrack composed entirely of era-specific instruments, adding a melancholic atmosphere to your increasingly bloody tale. Well, we're sure to get a few surprises before it's through, but between the foodie fun, high school drama, and on-ice shenanigans, May is shaping up to be another excellent month on Xbox Game Pass. Let us know which games you'll be checking out down in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell for all the latest Xbox news. Bye!